Spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
It is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
It is spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
It is spot on.
What's up? NFL draft season is upon us. Here at SOS, this is day 3 of our NFL mock drafts. I'm Mia White, hosting this segment. Here with me is the lovely Andrea Richmond. How are you, Andrea?
Am doing fantastic and ready for draft season.
I feel you. I feel you. So we've had day 1 and 2, going through those first 21 picks of round 1. Anything stuck out to you so far? Anything that you just really agree with?
I mean, I love the pick so far. I'm excited to see where some of these prospects land. It started off really hot, of course, like all of these drafts do, but this is also a really deep draft as well. So I'm really intrigued, especially when you have these playoff contenders, to see how they might pan out in this draft process.
All right. Well, we've got Louise, Tony, and Xavier on standby to give us picks 22 through 32 on this last day of our mock draft. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it. But Andrea, I want to ask you, with this first pick number 22, we got the Packers, right? And they can use a few things. Which direction do you think the Packers should possibly go with pick number 22?
I feel like instinctually, especially too, when you look at Devontae Adams leaving, you would obviously say wide receiver. But I would think that especially too, you have Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to be there forever. Maybe it takes a while for wide receiver to pan out. And since they aren't in the top half of the draft, maybe they go defensive and instead, or maybe linebacker. They did lose Zadarius Smith. Someone on the edge would make quite the impact, especially too. In the later rounds, you could still find somebody, hopefully, that could do some impact in a short amount of time. On the edge, maybe they can find something.
Definitely agree with you there. I think edge would be a good pick. Wide receiver, they can't go wrong there. We know Aaron Rodgers can make things happen with just about anybody. But they can also go offensive line here. There's no telling. But we're going to go ahead and go to Louise. Louise, what do you have the Packers with at number 22?
I actually have them going offensively, so I'm going to go different route than Andrea. I think that them drafting defensively the last couple of years is what got them in the turmoil with Aaron Rodgers. So just because of the optics, I feel that they will go receiver. But I think a great pick for the Packers right now to address their receiver after Devontae Adams departing is Christian Watson out of North Dakota State University. He might lack the speed, but he is 6'4". He has the frame size. And when you look at the scouting reports and kind of what the analysts are saying, they talk about his route running, his run after catch ability, his acceleration, his ability to create separation and have that route running ability. And those are similar qualities to Devontae Adams and someone who partners well with Aaron Rodgers. So I think after a huge payday for Aaron Rodgers, they desperately need a receiver. And I think drafting a receiver to compensate for the large contract they just gave out would be the best choice for the organization.
Hey, I love it. I think you can go ahead and try to find your next Devontae Adams or somebody to fill that role at the moment until you just find that guy for it, Green Bay. What do you think about that pick though, Andrea?
I love a good possession receiver. I think I've seen a couple of drills in him. Mossing people. I loved it. I think that that's a great pick. And he talked about it too. Aaron Rodgers appeasing him. I think Luis brought up a great point. Drafting defensively, although it has worked out for the team on the defensive side, guess what? Your quarterback has been wanting somebody, please, to help me. And especially too, when you have his best player leaving him, hey, make sure that he's appeased. Maybe he decides to stay a little bit longer, try to pull a Tom Brady and see if he can survive. I like that. I like that.
Nice. Okay, so Next up, we've got the Cardinals, and we know the roller coaster season that they had started out very strong, and then playoff time came around. Things kind of fell apart for Arizona. So, what do you think, Andrea, that the Cardinals should possibly do with pick number 23 in this year's draft?
This is a sin, so I don't want to say it, but I mean, hey, why not? Running back potentially, I know it's an air raid, and so probably is not going to do well. But if Chase Edmonds is leaving, and James Conner, I'm sorry, is known for being like on the goal line, getting a touchdown, and we need somebody to eat up that chunk, getting that those yards in order you need to help, and that also help out Kyler Murray as well. They don't really need the depth at wide receiver. Linebacker probably too, could probably use something. I look at that. There are a lot of different ways they could go, a lot of depth ways, probably a little bit more. But those are a couple ideas.
Okay. Well, we're going to go back to Louise and see what Louise has for pick number 23 with the Arizona Cardinals.
I actually have them going defensively. And the reason for that is they need to replace Chandler Jones. After he left for Vegas, I think that is a big need. In the back end of the season, they struggled defensively. They struggled to create pressure for the quarterback. They were bottom half of the NFL league in sacks. So adding a presence of someone kind of like George Karlaftis, I hope I'm saying that right. He's an edge rusher from Purdue. He is someone that provides an overpowering strength in the edge role. He had 17 and a half tackles for a loss in one of his seasons in Purdue. And the reports always talk about how explosive, how strong he is. And I think that would be a good element in that defense that's transitioning more.
I can see that. And it's interesting because, Walter Football has Karlaftis going to the Cardinals. But a lot of mock drafts have had the Cowboys taking him at 24, which we know that they need to address their defense as well. So Andrea, what are you thinking about the Cardinals going defense here?
You can never have enough edge in the NFL, period, as we've seen so many times before. If you have somebody who can pressure the quarterback, you're going to have good results. I do like that, replacing a big, stout part of their defense. And then also, too, Jada's getting up there in age as well. So you have somebody else. You need some edge, and the Cardinals need to make sure that they can keep up their defense because it was really good last year. You're going to need that edge to sustain that.
I think so. I think Karlaftis is, that massive rusher who can come in and be effective on any D line right now. And so it will be interesting to see the Cardinals go that way. But moving on to the team I just mentioned, the Dallas Cowboys are at 24. We know the shakeup that they've had on their roster. They lose Amari Cooper, they lose Randy Gregory. So many holes that they can fill. Offensive linemen and things like that. What do you think the Cowboys should do coming into this draft?
Yeah, so many holes, so many different ways that they could go. I do like what you talked about. Maybe, controversial. Maybe they decide, put Parsons on the edge and then maybe get a linebacker too. Maybe spice it up, do something like that. I think Dak, knowing the quarterback that he is never too much to have a little bit more wide receiver help. Also, too, you have Zeke that's up there in age, but you don't want that in the first round probably. So I do like going defensively, I would say, probably for this.
Okay. Well, we are going back to Louise with this pick. What do you got, Louise, for the Cowboys at number 24?
See, Andrea read my mind. I wanted to go two routes, and I was going to make an instant decision because both of them would sound good. So Connor Williams needs to be replaced. And I think Kenyan Green, offensive line out of Texas A&M, will be a good fit for them. But I do like Nakobe Dean, a linebacker, and moving Michael Parsons to edge. That way you can have another element of sideline to sideline presence and make that defense stronger after Randy Gregory just left. So I think just shifting personnel and the defense, especially since the Cowboys didn't really make that many offseason moves, I think will be the best way to restructure the defense and still have a high performance. Because the biggest question mark for the Dallas Cowboys have always been defensive presence. So just adding stronger personnel and generational talent, you could never go wrong there for longevity.
Who do you have them taking it with this pick again? I'm sorry.
Nakobe Dean.
Nakobe Dean. I like that. Honestly, they could, get some movement along that line if they move Micah out to edge, and we know how versatile Michael Parsons can be. But again, the Cowboys have so many holes, so that could have gone either way. Andrea, what are you thinking about that pick?
I love Nakobe Dean and Michael Parsons on the same team. Do you know how insane that would be? The versatility would be unquestionable. You have that speed in both players to get sideline to sideline, like Louis said. And then also, too, hey, bring pressure. You could fake out. You could bring it. You can. Oh my gosh, there's so many different disguises you can do. Especially Dan Quinn could have a field day. I would love that. That would make the Dallas Cowboys defense one of the most intriguing ones in the league. So I would love that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, the Bills are up next, and this is a team who's here lately. They've been good. Come playoff time, they just can't seem to get over the hump. What is it that the Bills must address to get over the hump? We know the running back position has been a problem for them, but is there a running back in this draft that can go in and take over for the Bills? Or do they possibly go defense? I think also on the offensive side, Stephon Diggs' contract may be looming here soon. So what do they do in that instance? What are you thinking, Andrea?
You could go slot wide receiver, probably, obviously missing, Beasley, but I think they did actually replace Beasley. I apologize for that. You can go wide receiver. You can go there. I think they really do need running back. I know you never draft a running back in the first round, but man, that is such a big, obvious hole for them. Maybe you do that. Linebacker also maybe wouldn't be the worst thing to do as well. So I like all those three positions.
Okay. Well, Louise, we got your final pick here. What are you thinking the Bills do with that 25th pick?
See, I like the setup that you provided of how do they get over the hump. Mm-hmm. And the AFC added tremendous quarterback talent and shifted to different positions. We have Deshaun Watson moving to the Browns. We have Russell Wilson moving to the Seahawks. It is a very stacked QB conference. And I think they should go defense. I think someone like Jalen Pitre out of Baylor, he plays safety. He could also play the slot corner, could provide a little bit more of defensive reinforcement. Because as much as we can debate the overtime rules, we can talk about Josh Allen not getting an opportunity, but we don't talk about the Bills not stopping Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. And that defense was pitiful, in my opinion, in that game. So adding some more defensive pieces really would benefit them. Some youth, some speed, but definitely some linebacker work would definitely go. But Jalen Pitre would be my pick.
I like that for them. I think defense is definitely a concern for them, and maybe more so than running back. We know they need to get a running back, but that defense does need some work right now if they're looking forward to advancing further in the playoffs. So, Andrea, what are you thinking about that pick for the Bills?
I don't mind it. Obviously, too, you look at defense in first of all, you made a good point. AFC is ridiculous. Yeah. So any defense is good defense. But then you have Kenneth Walker. Maybe he's worth that for, I don't know, especially too making more pressure off of Josh Allen. But man, defense is great. So I won't mind. I would not be mad at all with that.
Wouldn't be mad. Yeah, I think they could use the defensive help definitely. So, and then you got the later rounds to address any other needs because we know they do need some more offensive help. But yeah, defense definitely would be a good go-to for the Bills with this pick. Coming up at 26, we have the Tennessee Titans, another team that's just struggling to get over the hump. They had the whole situation with Derrick Henry last season, of him being injured, and Ryan Tannehill had to come out and be superhero some. We know they brought in some defensive pieces, but also the Titans just struggled to get there. And so they're still giving Vrabel a shot to getting them to the next level. and we'll see how that pans out for them. So, Andrea, I want to ask you, what do you think the Titans could do to strengthen that team? What should be their big focus right now?
Offensive line, please. Like, please. They need somebody to make sure, especially too, like he has some mobility, but you don't want Ryan Tannehill to like just continue to take on pressure because he's not the most adept. He's not unadept, but he's not the most adept at doing that. So that would be great. Maybe secondary if you find somebody is really, great. But I will want somebody offensive line to help, please.
All right. Well, we got Mr. Spot on Sports himself. Mr. Tony Monk is checking in with us for this 26 pick. Tony, you're up. Who do you have the Titans taking at 26?
Most of my introductions always be so formal. I'm just another
Yes,
broadcaster.
you
here.
deserve that.
The broadcaster, okay?
I'm just here making a pick, just like the other broadcasters. We're all the same. We're all the same. But when we look at the Titans, I see a team that's a little similar to the Bills. And Andrea said it, offense, because this team is probably more offensively heavy than they are defensively minded. Where do you go when you have the best running back? Well, where do you go when you have a youngster like A.J. Brown? Well, guess what? They just got Robert Woods, but the problem is he's coming off of ACL. Andrea, you say offensive line, maybe some more receiver help. Maybe Ryan Tannehill isn't the guy, and we need a quarterback. Guess what? I am going to make a surprise pick here. It's a Kenny Pickett stops plunging, or if quarterbacks even plunging at this point of the year for them in this class. And the Titans go and get a guy who may be the QB of the future for them with quarterback Kenny Pickett. I mean, hey, you get a guy that's not too far out of the Aaron Rodgers-like zone with arm talent, but he can make the throws. We saw what he did at the combine. He's pretty good. And so you bring him in and you say, hey, if we don't see Ryan Tannehill probably being here for too much longer, especially after another season, the Titans managed to get into the playoffs, albeit they lost Derrick Henry for a good chunk of it, but they were still a good team. If you don't think he's it, we got this rookie in waiting. Tannehill just becomes the bridge. We bring this young guy in. He might be successful in the future. I say Tennessee Titans for the 26th pick in the NFL draft. They go with quarterback Kenny Pickett.
Honestly, Tony, I like it. And here's why. Because you're in a hero. You hear me saying that Ryan Tannehill is just merely a game manager. And that works for some teams when you're trying to win a Super Bowl, but sometimes it just doesn't work. And you need more than just a game manager. So, hey, I say if you can find that guy now, go ahead and do that. You have the offensive weapons. You have Derrick Henry, who you're wearing down. I might add, but you have the Julio situation, AJ Brown. You bring in Robert Woods. You can always go and find another receiver. You possibly go and find a backup for Derrick Henry, a solid backup for Derrick Henry. But yes, I do think going quarterback here would not be a bad move for Tennessee. Andrea, your thoughts?
I like the surprise pick, Tony, of going quarterback because that was a thought that I had, a fleeting thought, but we've seen fleeting thoughts turn out to successes. You talk about Joe Flacco was still an NFL quarterback at the time. They ended up bringing Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson ended up being a continuation, Aaron Rodgers, and you talk about as well. Look, I do not mind the pick of quarterback, but you got to go Desmond Ridder, man. I like Desmond Ridder a little bit more, man. I like his arm. I like where he's going with it. And then I like his processing. I prefer Desmond Ridder of the Kenny Pickett train, but you wouldn't go wrong going quarterback.
All right. So next we have the Tampa Bay Bucks, who have brought back Tom Brady. They're still up in the air what they're doing with Rob Gronkowski. So they have some questions over there to answer themselves. But here to give us what the Bucks should do with the number 27 pick is Xavier. Xavier, what you got the Bucks doing, man?
How you doing, guys? How you doing? I have for the 27th pick, Tampa Bay Buccaneers picking Kenyan Green, if I'm saying his name right, Kenyan Green or something like that, from Texas A&M. He's a tackle. They lost. The reason why I choose this pick is because they lost two tackles last season And that's what ultimately defeated Tom Brady's season of hoping for a repeat of another Super Bowl. Because as you can see, when they played the Rams in the playoffs, y'all know that defense, the Rams tore them up, especially in the trenches on the lines, because one of their tackles were injured and out for the season, and one of their tackles just retired. So now they need some depth there in the trenches. I believe they're good on defense. Their defense is still kind of intact, so I believe in them. Those guys will show up. The skill guys on the offensive side of the ball, we know they're going to show up. So I'm just worried about the tackle position, and I just hope they pick Kenyan Green as a start.
I think Kenyan Green would be a good pick. He seems to, have what it takes to be a good lineman to protect the passer. And I think that is a big need that the Bucks do need to address, because they do have weapons pretty much everywhere else. Any other position you can name, they pretty much have a solid stud there. So, Andrea, what are you thinking about this pick? Maybe should the Bucks have gone a different direction, or is this the right way for them to go?
I think this is a good direction. Yeah, you have any of two options, right? You strengthening up the secondary, or you go for tackle and make sure that Tom Brady is protected. Because guess what? He's Tom Brady. He can handle pressure, but he does not move around like he even used to, which is kind of weird, but he was good at pocket mobility. All right. And he really enjoys having a good solid pocket. He needs that at this point in his career. You have basically almost everything else. If it's not secondary, tackle, those are two options. And I do like that.
All right. So up next we have the Green Bay Packers again, knowing that they could go wide receiver, they could go edge, they could go O-line and get Aaron Rodgers some more protection. What are you thinking, given what the earlier pick was for Green Bay, what should they do with this next first round pick?
I'm not gonna lie, that threw me off earlier. The pick threw me off, so I had to scramble a little bit. I was prepared. I'm going out on a limb here. I say Green Bay will get the kid from Michigan, David Agalobu. I don't know how to say his last name, but David. Yep. The DN / outside linebacker. I think they will get him just to beef up the edge a little bit. I know they probably really don't need him, but like I said, I'm going out on a limb because I know they have Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary already on the edge. So I just think they'll want to beef it up, beef up the defense, because I believe defense win ball games at the end of the day. If you can stop a team from scoring, you got a chance, especially when you have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback. I don't care if it comes down to a field goal, you win the game. Right.
Andrea, what are you liking about this pick?
I like the fact that you said that they don't need him right now, which is good, because Adabo might not play this year, probably, when you look at his injury. So I do like just sitting on it. Strengthening up that edge defense wins championships. And so if you can make sure you can fortify that, stash him, you'll be great for the next year. So I don't mind that. I like that. I like it too, especially from that standpoint. Let him get some experience. He's coming off an Achilles tear, so that's something they're going to have to monitor and let him get back into his rhythm. So with him not having to face so much pressure in that sense, I think that would be a very good pickup for the Packers. Up next, though, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. What a whirlwind they have been on. They sent Tyreek Hill away, trying to free up some money, but Patrick Mahomes still has that huge contract. So again, so many questions with the Chiefs. Obviously, they need to fill their wide receiver role. They did bring in Juju, so there's a change, but I don't know that Juju is going to be Tyreek Hill. Andrew, what are you thinking the Chiefs do? Is it okay to go wide receiver here, or should they go elsewhere? I think changing it up, if you can't have the top end thing that you have with Tyreek Hill, make it a committee, having Pringle, having Scatling, having all of these different players, Juju, and still having Kelsey, adding another piece. Why not go for it? Making sure that you can have a committee. But then you also look at it too. You lost Tyrann Mathieu. You need probably some secondary help. Well, not probably. You definitely need some defensive help. If you want to make sure you can extend your Super Bowl window, you'll have to start being serious about that secondary, that defense. So a lot of different options you can go, but I would think that defense maybe and wide receiver.
Defensive wide receiver. All right, we're going to see what Xavier has to say about this. Xavier, what do you have the Chiefs doing with the 29th pick, which is their first pick of the first round of this draft?
So for the 29th pick, the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe, or at least I hope, that they will get the kid from Penn State, Johan Jostin.
Okay.
And forgive me, guys, if I'm saying their names. It's just I ain't never heard their last name before. But I believe he brings a lot to the game, man. He caught 52 passes for 884 yards and 8 touchdowns in only 9 games. And the crazy thing is he's only 5'11", the same as Tyreek Hill, which is crazy stat. But I always preach about how I really would love for the Kansas City Chiefs to have a defense, man. That would be so spectacular to match up with that offense. That would be crazy. Cheat code team. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to side with the offense because that's how they made their name in the first place, having a high-powered offense that scores like video game points on the other team. So I believe if they have him, it'll just help with that. I'm not saying he'll be the next Tyreek Hill, but I feel like it'll help out since he left now. So I think they should get him just to keep the offense beefy and score a lot of points.
I think that would be good. Like you said, to kind of keep that offense going in the right direction. So it would be safe to go with the wide receiver there. And I'm surprised you didn't say Dotson on this one. A lot of people are going with Dotson from Penn State on this one. Andrea, what are you thinking though?
I think that when you have speed, that's always great, especially to their fast team, up and down, go for it, get it. And it's okay because there's another pick coming up next. So it's totally fine to just choose a wide receiver. Then guess what? Maybe they can go defense. Listen, their offense their offense, if Patrick Mahomes just did a dump off pass a little bit more accurately, hey, then they would probably be in the Super Bowl. So I don't mind that.
All right. We'll see. Well, they have another pick coming up after this one. However, Tony is going to be delivering this pick for us. So again, wide receiver, or do you go defense? Well, we just went wide receiver, so now would be the perfect time to go defense. Maybe the O-line. I feel like the O-line position is so underrated when it comes to the draft. You know what I mean? But we'll see. We'll see what they do. Tony, you're up. What do you have the Chiefs doing with their back-to-back second pick in the first round? All right, Tony, you'll check in with us soon.
I'm here. There we go. No, so y'all know that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to keep the offensive minded going because Andy Reid knows nothing about defense. No, I'll see your offense, all right, and I will raise you a defensive player, all right? Guess who's still on the board at this point? Jordan Davis, defensive tackle out of Georgia, and that is who the Kansas City Chiefs will sink their teeth into. He falls no longer than this point here. We're talking about a guy, 17 total tackles, 2 sacks. Ask the question, who made a QB sneak conversion against Georgia and any of the time that Jordan Davis was there? No one. The numbers against them, 0. Because Jordan Davis was the guy. And look, we're talking about a guy that's definitely the better of the defensive tackle or the defensive front along the Georgia line. I think that defense moved as he moved. They went as he went and they played as he played. So I think for the Chiefs, you want to start getting you a guy, I believe similar to the time where Chandler Jones was there, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you get another guy that can stuff the pocket, that you can put. You know, he has bull rush moves. He's pretty effective on the pass. Don't let the 2 sacks fool you. But I believe that he's a guy that they can definitely bring in, plug in. He's a day one starter, and he's actually a steal this low in the draft for them.
I agree. He would definitely be a steal. And then again, if you're going to address offense with that first pick, then you definitely have to kind of go defense with your second pick because your defense is kind of what lost you the game, you know, the big game, not being able to help you get over that hump and keep the offense ahead. So I can see them going defense here. Andrea, what about you?
I love the fact that you go all in your defensive line. There's two different ways that you can do this, right? You can have a bang up secondary and then, okay, defensive line. So your quarterback can't pass anywhere, or you just go in on that defensive line. I really would enjoy this because you're kind of giving Chris Jones an ability. It was like back and forth last year. Should he be inside? Should he be outside? Now you can go back outside. And then also to run stopping ability. The Chiefs desperately need players who could plug up the holes in the run because their run was completely abysmal. You talk about their passing, also running as well. So you have somebody who can tighten up the run. That would be fantastic, making sure that if anything, you're only making it so that, hey, I'll get one thing solid and then we can worry about the passing game later.
I feel you. Well, next up on the clock is a Super Bowl contender from this year, the Cincinnati Bengals. And I think we all screamed about their offensive line and getting Joe Burrow killed in the playoffs and just, how he needed more protection. I know I was fearful of them messing up his knee again, but that didn't happen. Thank God for that. Defensively, they were, better than I think a lot of people expected them to be. And so I think you can still add to that defense. Again, you can also go ahead and beef up your offensive line more. We know you have a great wide receiver in Jamar Chase, and you have other key pieces to go along with him. You've got a good quarterback. You've got solid running backs. What do you do, Andrea, with the situation in Cincinnati? They were in the Super Bowl, but now they're trying to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, trying to win it is the key. I think, you look at offensive line. That's plain just offensive line. You need to get that better. And although they did bring in some free agents, they probably could use in fortifying it. I think an underrated thing that people didn't really talk about was losing my man, and I like to call him this thing, Uzma, or as I call him, TJ Uzmanzada, okay? Because that boy was good and getting some catches and really nice. Of course, shout out to Uzmanzada. I think having another safety valve, having somebody who can really just catch and has a good sure hands in the middle of the field is really good, especially too for a quarterback that might not have as much time in the pocket as other people. Of course, he knows he has more now that he has better pieces, but if you don't go offensive line, I wouldn't also mind tight end, maybe two, shoring up that secondary, making it even better.
All right, well, Tony is up again with this 31st pick, and we'll see what he has to say that the Bengals are going to do with this pick. So, Tony, what do you have for us with the 31st pick?
Well, how about we let the Bengals get better in the front seven, right? Let's go get the guy that stood next to Nakobe Dean in Georgia and go draft Trey Walker. We're talking about a guy that understands how to be a leader, having played with Nakobe Dean for about 2 years already. And I watched those two guys close, and I watched that Trey Walker can move around. Not nearly as well as Nakobe Dean. Now, Nakobe Dean shoots out like a missile, but Trey Walker can move. And if you need a guy that can go sideline to sideline, runs about a 4.4, 4.5. I'm sorry, not 4.4, but 4.5, 4.6. Kid's got good speed. I'll take anybody from that Georgia defense any day. I think you can, for the Bengals, if you're not getting better in the secondary, and then there's guys like Lewis Sign, a safety from Georgia, that they could get. But I think if you can get your front seven better, stop the run. They have a lot of holes still on that defensive side. Yes, it wasn't the secondary, but the secondary played better at the end of the season. So let's go ahead and put somebody in the front seven. I think Trey Walker could be a guy here for them, and I think he'll be good.
I think so too. It definitely would help them defensively for sure. So the last pick we have coming up with the 32nd pick is the Detroit Lions. And we know that they can really go quarterback here. I mean, coming into the season, I was like, Jared Goff ain't going to be it. And surprisingly, they won a game. So, but I think they're also another team that has so many holes to fill. Do you let Jared Goff be that bridge quarterback for you and address other things, or do you go ahead and try to find your next quarterback now? Andrea, what are you thinking the Detroit Lions should address first in this first round?
I'm very glad you phrased that way. What should they address first? Because gosh darn it, they can address every single thing in the world, honestly. I think this is a perfect time. You talk about the quarterbacks aren't going to probably be chosen high. Well, this is a perfect time to get a quarterback towards the end. And, there is a guy, since Pickett's already been chosen, there's a guy that I like. His name is Desmond Ridder. Go ahead. I also wouldn't mind Matt Corral, too. I think he's pretty okay. So either of those picks would be good. Just not Castle. I don't think this is a good spot for him, but I don't know. Who knows?
All right, well, we're going to see what Tony's got to say about this. Tony, you're on. What should the Lions do with this pick?
What if I told you this was kind of red pill, blue pill? Take the blue pill and that's your quarterback, and then you can kind of get one in the first round and call it a day. Or you take the red pill, get this kid named Joan Dotson, and then pair him with Amon-Ra St. Brown, pick right again at 34, and then get your guy Desmond Ritter. How's that sounding to you?
Oh my gosh, I like this, Tony. Play mind games. I'm sinking into the Matrix right now. I'm sinking.
There you go. Boom. No, seriously, you go ahead and get, if John Dotson is going to fall to 32, if you're picking right again at 34, that'll be a lot, simpler to say, hey, let's go ahead and get this receiver. We know we're going to need receiver help anyway, having to go get quarterback help if we want to go get Desmond Ridder. But we still need to throw to someone other than Amon-Ra and put
audio.
Hear me?
Now
Yeah, we
again.
can now.
All right, we're gonna do it a cappella. My AirPods may have died, but yeah, you go ahead and get this kid, the wide receiver Joan Dotson, pair him up with Amon. They got a pretty decent offense. This is a team that's going to play for their quarterback. For their coach. They're going to play for their coach. We saw they may have been 2-17 or whatever record they were last year, but for some reason they showed up in every game. Let's start putting the young guys in here. The young guys is going to be able to be coached up. The young guys is going to be able to listen. We get that quarterback in the second round, but we'll definitely come back around, and I think this is a good pick here for Joan Dotson.
I like it. Again, like Andrew said, you're kind of playing, joining the Matrix, playing chess, not checkers. So I dig it. Andrea, what are your thoughts on that, though?
Yeah, no, I like it too, because the only pick in between is the Jacksonville Jaguars. You want to make sure that the Jags, they can also use some help there in the wide receiver, in the receiver department. So making sure that, hey, denying that, we're not even going to let you get the chance. All right. We're going to go ahead. You're not going to get another quarterback. So go ahead, get the receiver and then get the quarterback. I like that. That's why I'm plugged in. I'm in the Matrix right now. Let's go.
There you go. I love it. I think all these picks have been some solid picks so far tonight. And we're just looking forward to the draft to see who's right. This has been Spot on Sports. I'm Mia White, joined with Andrea Richmond. Thank you to Tony, Xavier, and Louise for joining in, dropping your picks with us. You guys hit that like button, subscribe, comment, and share this with somebody you know. Thank you for tuning in to Spot on Sports, where we're not just accurate, but we are spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.
Everything is spot on.
Actually, that's spot on.
Spot on.